Good morning and welcome to Mo Knows featuring me, Monica Mo Justice. Okay, today I just wanted to share with you the 911. Well, it wasn't a 911 call, accordingly. It was the non emergency call from the neighbor of Atatiana, Jefferson. Um, so I want to bring you James and his phone call, and then I'll come back afterwards with my comments.
Fort Worth Police Operator M873, what's the address?
I'm calling about my neighbor.
What's going on there?
Well, the front doors have been open since 10 o'clock, and I haven't seen anybody moving around. It's not normal for them to have both of the doors open this time of night.
Okay. You know if anyone is inside?
I'm not sure. Both of the cars are there.
Okay, bear with me. And they're in the driveway?
Both the cars in the driveway, yes.
Are they usually home at this time?
They're usually home, but they never had both of the front doors open with the lights on, like I can see straight through the house. When my sister woke me up, she stays across the street, and then I live on the opposite side of my sister.
We'll have an officer come by. They're already being dispatched now, okay?
Okay, appreciate it. I mean, it's just not normal for them to have both the doors open this late for that long.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now that we've heard the non-emergency call, what say you about? I've looked over the warrant that was issued for Aaron Dean in respect to the murder in Fort Worth, Texas. Last Saturday morning at 2 a.m. The warrant has questionable language inside of it. This is ruled a homicide, and they charged him with murder. So inside of this report, they list the address. I'll just read it. I, detective, whoever you are. You know, my eyes are still focusing. So the detective who swore out this affidavit's been with the police department for 13 years, currently assigned to major crime unit, and was assigned the investigation involving an officer involved shooting which occurred at the address in Tarrant County, Texas. It lists the address, but I'm not going to put that up here. He said, I made the scene to begin the investigation. Okay. On October 12th at 2:23 hours, so 0223 hours, Fort Worth police officer Aaron Dean and CA were I'm gonna blow this up. This is what happens when you can't print shit out. Were dispatched to, and they list the address again, on an open structure call. I thought this was a wellness check. The details for the call said the front door to the residence were open. So residents were well, it says front doors to the residence were open. So it's indicating that two doors, more than one, was open. The only reason why this is important is because Jason and I, when we was um, on the talking the other day, Jason made a point to me that I thought was interesting in respect to having a screen door and a front door. And even though your front door is open, if it has a screen door and the screen door is closed, they can't gain an entry, which then made me start to think of this from a different perspective in respect to having once lived in a house and knowing that we do leave the front door, or we had left, especially in the summertime, the front door open, but the screen door locked. And we're still not expecting anybody to come through the door just because the door wasn't physically shut on the inside. That would make somebody think something was wrong with our home. But that's just based on my own personal experience. So it made me look at the call a little differently. But I had no idea that when they put out the search warrant, that they were going to modify it and say that this was a call for open structure call, um, opposed to it being a wellness check. So this is just interesting, all to say the least. The details for the call, I guess it's supposed to say for the caller, but it says the details for the call said the front doors to the residence were open. Both of the neighbors' vehicles are in the driveway, and the neighbors are usually home, but never have the door open. So that doesn't sound like a wellness check. Sounds like a burglary call. The officers went to the residence wearing Fort Worth police uniforms. Officer Dean had his body camera on, and it was activated. I reviewed I reviewed Officer Dean's body cam video. In front and side, interior doors were open, and the glass storm door were closed. Officials looked through each of the storm doors into the residence without seeing anyone in the front room. The officers did not announce their presence. Officer Dean, using his flashlight, checked the vehicles in the driveway and then proceeded to the backyard. Now, I don't remember seeing all of that from that video. So I'm going to have to go look back at that video again. In terms of checking the cars in the driveway, I only saw one car, but I did see him looking over in that direction. So maybe that's what. He checked the vehicles in the driveway and then proceeded to the backyard. Officer Dean used his flashlight and opened a gate and entered the backyard. Officer Dean still had not announced his presence. Officer Dean then shined his light into a back window of a dark room and observed someone inside. Officer Dean gave orders to put your hands up, show me your hands. without identifying himself as police and fired his handgun one time one time through the window. The body cam video does not clearly, does that say does not clearly? I think it says does not clearly or through the window due to the reflection. All right. So the body camera video does not clearly see through the window due to the reflection from Officer Dean's flashlight. So the body cam video, according to them, is not showing you anything. But they continue to point out that he said without identifying himself as police and fired his handgun one time through the window. The body camera video does not clearly see through the window due to the reflection from Officer Dean's flashlight. And Miss Jefferson, who lived at the address, was shot, yelled out in pain, and fell to the ground. The officers then entered the residence to render medical aid. MedStar was notified and Jefferson was pronounced dead. They retracted something. Who is Jefferson's 8-year-old nephew was inside the same room as Jefferson at the time of the shooting. On Saturday, October 12, 2019. So they say they have something, but they redacted it over there. So I'm going to redact it. Was interviewed by somebody at forensics interviewer for Alliance for Children. So I don't think they redacted his name the second time. Somebody told, this is number 9 of the warrant. Somebody told Dula that he and Jefferson were playing video games in the back bedroom. Jefferson told Blank that she heard noises coming from outside and she took her handgun from her purse, and Jefferson raised her handgun, pointed it toward the window. Then Jefferson was shot and fell to the ground. Number 10. On Saturday, October 12th, I interviewed Officer Darsh. So that's the second officer. Officer Darsh said that she and Officer Dean were dispatched to the address. Officer Darsh said that they went into the backyard and Officer Dean was standing between her and the house, and she could only see Jefferson's face through the window when Officer Dean discharged his weapon one time. Officer Dean declined to provide an interview on the date of the shooting. Officer Dean's legal counsel said he would provide a written statement at a later date. So Officer Dean had legal counsel by the time this officer wrote up this request for for the warrant. On October 14th, Officer Dean resigned from the police department and declined to provide a written statement detailing his account at the time of the shooting. Due to the aforementioned facts and information being related to one as a result, related to me as a result of this investigation, I have reason to believe and do believe that Aaron Dean, date of birth, they list his date of birth, did commit the offense